Thank you so much, Steve, for such a lovely introduction. And thank you all for this very prestigious award. I know that Congressman Bruce Vento was a true champion for those who are homeless. And it is an honor to receive this award in his name tonight. I also want to thank your outstanding organization for the dedication, compassion, and expertise that you bring to this important cause. As I was sitting here tonight, I couldn't help but think of how different the lives of each and every one of us would be if we had no place to go tonight. If we did not have a safe home to return to. If we did not know where our next meal was coming from. Think of the impact that it would have on your ability to work, to go to school, to be a healthy human being. And the cause of helping our homeless individuals and families has always been near and dear to my heart. There's an individual here from Maine, Mark Swan, who runs one of our largest shelters systems in Portland, Maine. And Portland is one of the most prosperous cities that we have in our state. And yet they are overwhelmed in trying to serve the needs of the homeless. But Mark, thank you for all that you do in that regard. I am particularly moved by the plight of young people who are homeless. This is one of our nation's most difficult challenges, and its size is staggering, with more than 1.3 million young people experiencing homelessness each year. Just think about that. Even more staggering are the gut-wrenching individual stories of abuse and sex trafficking. The despair and horror faced by so many of our young people are heartbreaking. But more important, they are a call to action, a call that each and every one of you in this room has answered. In these times of deep political division and hyperpartisanship here in Washington, surely this is one issue that should bring us together. You do have committed allies on both sides of the aisle. Raising awareness is key, and that's why, as Steve mentioned, I chaired a hearing last year that garnered significant attention, in part because we had a high-profile witness, the award-winning artist, Cyndi Lauper. She overcame homelessness with the help of a youth hostel program in New York City. Just as important, the hearing highlighted the wonderful work being done by those of you on the front lines. And we're so fortunate to have a strong ally in our HUD Secretary, Julian Castro. Shortly after that hearing, the Secretary came to Maine at my invitation to tour the outstanding New Beginning Center in Lewiston that has served runaway and homeless youth for more than 3 decades. It was an eye-opener to sit and talk with those young people. This summer, Secretary Castro and I visited the Sasha Bruce youth work here in Washington, D.C. And I'm fortunate to say that another person who got me so interested in this issue is here tonight, Heidi Shamarati, who is my chief policy advisor and runs the subcommittee on transportation and HUD. And she knows from personal experience what it is like to be a homeless youth. And she benefited from the wonderful programs at the Sasha Bruce youth work, I can't get that straight, program. And look at her today. Here she is telling me what to do. And I mentioned Heidi because it's important that we put a human face on this issue. And that's why I was so delighted to see that the award that I'm receiving has faces on it. Not statistics, but faces on it. Safety must be our top priority. Homeless youth are especially vulnerable, as I mentioned, to sexual exploitation, of which there have been horrifying cases, even in the great state of Maine, where we read of a young girl, age 13, who was being trafficked by a couple. It was just horrifying. The Bipartisan Runaway and Homeless Youth and Trafficking Prevention Act that I co-sponsored with my colleague, Senator Pat Leahy, would strengthen critical preventive and treatment services, and we should have passed this earlier this year. As the chair of the HUD Appropriations Subcommittee, one of my goals is to ensure that HUD's homeless programs better reflect the needs of our young people who need help. And this issue is complicated by the lack of youth-specific data. I said that faces are important, and they are, but you need the data to back it up as well. As the lead co-sponsor of the Runaway and Homeless Youth and Trafficking Prevention Act, and in my role on the subcommittee for appropriations, I secured funding for the first prevalence study so that federal programs can help communities, big and small. I come from northern Maine, which is very rural, and there aren't a lot of services there, can better understand the scope of youth homelessness. Delivering effective services where they are needed requires accurate, comprehensive information. I'm pleased to say that the funding bill passed by the Senate Appropriations Committee provides $2.3 billion overall for homeless assistance grants, but I'm particularly proud that 3 years ago, when I first started focusing on this issue, we created a special program within HUD to focus on youth homelessness. And out of that $2.3 billion, we continue to carve out $40 billion so that we can come up with innovative, coordinated, and comprehensive programs that are targeted at helping our homeless youth. And by the way, despite the budget caps, we have increased funding for homeless grants all the years that I have been the chair of that subcommittee. And in some cases, it's been the first increase in a decade. This progress is the result of the hard work and passion of countless advocates like you and of individuals and organizations all across our country. It demonstrates greater recognition by Congress of the challenges and needs of youth experiencing homelessness. Together, we can send a powerful message that we care, that we want these young people to be safe and that we want them to succeed. So I thank you all for your outstanding efforts, and I am so grateful to receive this award. Thank you so much. Thank you.